again, as learning leaders, you all are, laying the foundation, building the infrastructure, putting emerging programs, processes in place. Tell us how you're cultivating talent to take over the next phase as learning leaders.
Within my organization, it's on the larger side. I have had 360 learning professionals that were part of my group, with another 150, 175 close-in consultants that we used on a regular basis. Looking at the leadership development of my team to make sure not only that I have a successor for my role, but actually successor for many of the roles that are important for us, given our design, was really essential for us to make sure we had in place. So, it's interesting. There's no substitute for the tutoring that can go on and the mentorship that can go on between individuals. So the idea of having someone identified for us as a development coach for an individual, saying that, quote unquote, we think highly of this individual, we think they have potential, we wanted to expose them. So we exposed them by actually having them have a development coach with several individuals across the organization. So they didn't just learn about one discipline, they actually learned at multiple disciplines. I personally had 9 coachees at any given time, because more at the CLO strategy level, it was helping them understand how we think about that to create greater context for them. So those things we did. Having them participate in leadership development experiences. So one of the things we looked at in leadership development was, we're not just developing it for everybody else, we're developing it for ourselves. So we had a leadership structure that our people participated in, as well as certain things. The firm has what we call Genesis Park leadership experience, and every year I had the ability to place 2 people into that program. So again, it was seen as a valuable part of our leadership structure. The same competency model that we use for the firm, we use for our own people. The same measurement and snapshots is the same model we use. So we wanted to be on the same level as we did the organization. Those are just a few of the things.
Great.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I don't have a team of 175, but I wish I did. I think and I'll take a little bit of a different tact. I think the learning leaders that I envision of the future are really coming out of the business. That I think what we're going to see is not so much the learning professionals kind of leading the learning function and so on, but really almost a rotation that will occur at the business level, where people who have a passion for learning and development, who truly can have kind of a credibility in the business, will then do a rotation through learning. And we're going to get more of those folks kind of sharing their best practices, whether it's a leadership program, a sales program, a management program, a project management program, product-based training, and so on. So the learner, the learning faculty, the professionals will be there to help facilitate, to build, to make sure that kind of that learning transfer occurs, to assist those individuals. But really, the learning leaders per se, I'd like to see coming more out of the business. We're setting up an offsite later or actually at the end of January, and rather than kind of coming in and kind of creating this typical leadership summit and teaching and training and getting people participating and engaging in different activities, we're really going to be selecting leaders to kind of lead these events. So it's going to be pre-work, and the learning professionals working with those folks, sharpening their facilitation skills, letting them know what their expectations are, helping them with that facilitation process, and then to be there in the room as well to support as needed, to facilitate as needed, to make those connections as needed. But really, that's the kind of beginning or the evolution of where we're heading in that space. So to me, it's around that ability of kind of leveraging kind of leaders in play to play those future learning roles moving forward.
Yeah, I also have a team of 175, minus 170. So, a small team, I tend to agree with Joe. I think you really go out to the organization. I think a lot of people throughout the year show an interest to come into learning and development. And you try to stay in touch with those folks, and, people within your team, you give them the right experiences, right level of exposure, when you identify someone as being a successor, but also being open to the rest of the business and listening to them and giving them, as we put together Leaders as Teachers program, as we put together different program where we rely on SMEs to develop solutions for you, you typically come across a lot of people who have a appetite for learning and development, and people who are a good fit. So you tend to stick around with those folks and give them more opportunities to get the exposure.
Okay, well, this was great. We're out of time, but thank you so much for the rich discussion.